So, hello, Miss Stephanie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Alhamdulillah. So, how's your day going?
It's going really well.
How's Charlie?
He is doing really well. He started school this week. So he's in preschool and it was a little hard for him, but we're both getting through
Okay, he can get through it. I know so.
it.
Yeah, so
How
how's
about
the
you? How was your week?
what?
How was your week?
Oh, my week is going great. Alhamdulillah, it's very nice. But it's very hot in here. How about your weather?
It is about 85 Fahrenheit today. So it's pretty warm.
Yes, it's very warm in here as well. So, should we start?
Sure.
Okay, so for those listeners who don't know who you are, can you give us a snapshot of your story or share a little bit of your journey to who you are today?
Sure can. So my name is Stephanie. A lot of people online call me Dr. Stephanie because I have my PhD.
Okay.
And I teach kids and parents how to do science at home. And I try to come up with really fun experiments or help explain them, which a lot of parents need that help. To feel confident in what they're doing. And I run an Instagram account where we share our experiments every day.
Oh, that's very interesting. So, how long have you been teaching kids science?
So, I have a background in learning sciences and I focus on how people learn chemistry specifically. And so I've been doing that for ages. Don't want to say how old I am, but I've been doing that for a very long time. And then recently, I started working on that Instagram account in the pandemic, actually. Being home all the time with my son, I used that as an opportunity to help parents because I knew I was struggling. And I thought, I'm struggling and I'm an educator and a scientist. I can only imagine what anybody else was feeling. So I wanted to help everybody out.
Well, yep, that's a very great story and it's very nice. So, as you said that you help kids learn science, so can you please tell us some fun science experiments for kids as well?
Sure, I have a few right now. Would you like to see them?
Of course, why not? I'm so excited.
Great. I've got three of them that kids can do at home with the supervision of a parent, obviously. I'm not going to advocate for doing things alone at home. Their parents should know what they're up to. But these are things many families probably have in their home or their kitchen already. So let's see. What do you want to work with first? Baking soda and vinegar or oil and water?
How about oil and water?
Okay, so for oil and water, do they mix or do they not mix?
Mm, I think they doesn't mix.
They do not mix, you're right. And so what I've done is I have food coloring mixed in. Can you see that?
Yes, I can
There are
see it.
little
Yep.
specks of it. I used red and blue because we have our 4th of July coming up. So that's the activity I've been working on. And we're going to make fireworks in a jar.
Oh,
So the food coloring does not dissolve in oil because it also is more like water.
yep.
So when I add the oil to the water, it's going to form a layer on top,
Yep.
except as the dots of food coloring hit the water, they'll start to dissolve in the water and they look like little fireworks. It's really fun for kids.
Okay, let's see.
It takes a second.
Okay, no problem.
Looks like all of the food coloring dots stayed in the bottom. Let me get them out. There we go. We let them settle for a second. But this is something that I work with kids a lot because the food coloring, things that mix and don't mix, actually explain a lot of things that we do in our daily life. Like which ingredients you mix together first when you're baking, where does the salt go when you're cooking pasta or rice and things like that. So
Yeah.
this is a really fun one. Okay, do you see how it's starting to have fireworks?
I think it is starting.
Yeah.
It hasn't started yet, but it is starting. Oh, I think it has started.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so you can do that with any color of food coloring you want. And all I did was I took a little bit of oil and I shook it with the food coloring and they didn't mix and it just formed all these tiny, tiny little globs. And
Wow.
then over time, if you have a lot of patience and you sit and watch, you can watch all of those little globs of food coloring start to dissolve in the water.
Yep, it's very interesting. So can I use red with it as well? Red coloring?
You could use any color you would like. And you could actually do it with several colors at once because they won't mix with the oil. So you'll have all these little different rainbow dots. It's really fun.
It's very fun and it's very interesting and it looks beautiful as well.
Yeah. Another one I have is, well, since I have the food coloring out, we'll do that. I've got shaving foam
Yep.
and water in a cup, and we are going to model a cloud.
Okay.
And so I'm going to drip water into the cloud right here, and it will release rain when it gets too heavy, just like a cloud does. And so it's a really good way to explain why some clouds rain and some don't, and it's like how heavy it is. So I'll just keep adding and we'll see it finally drip down. This one is my son Charlie's favorite. We do this activity probably once a week.
This will be my favorite as well.
Let's see. It's not there yet. And the cool thing is this foam, as long as you don't mind getting food coloring on your hands. Oh, see, it's starting to rain.
Oh, yeah, it started to rain. Wow.
So that actually took a lot for it to get through.
I can see it. It's a lot.
So the cool thing with this too is the shaving foam on top that now has food coloring in it. You can take a piece of paper and put it on top of it and make some art out of it. And the shaving foam will disappear and then you'll have your art, but you get food coloring on your hands that way.
Okay. And another one?
I have one more, and this one is another favorite of Charlie's. It's baking soda and vinegar. You need an empty plastic bottle. I used a water bottle because it's clear and it's easier to show what I'm doing. And I fill it with about an inch or two of vinegar in here. And then I take a balloon. You can use any color. I happen to have some white left over from a birthday party. And you use a little spoon and you spoon baking soda into the balloon. So then you're very careful and you put it around the lip of the bottle without spilling it in yet. And then when you're ready to, what do you think is going to happen?
I think some air will come out on the balloon.
Yes, a gas is formed when we have this reaction and we're capturing it with the balloon. So we've closed the whole system and we can see that what happens. So if you watch.
Oh, it blows.
It's really fun to do, and you can do it with different juices as well. And you can kind of figure out which juices are more acidic, lime juice, lemon juice. I haven't tried it with orange juice, but you can set that up as an experiment of using the same amount in each bottle and the same amount of baking soda in each balloon, but changing which liquid you use. So these are just fun things that are around the house that you can make an afternoon of fun activities out of.
Of course. And does it work in mango juice?
I don't know how acidic mango juice is. You'll have to try that and let me know how it works.
Okay, I'll let you know. I have to try it. I'm so excited to try it at home.
Maybe I'm wondering if it's mangoes are pretty sweet, but I bet they have some acidity. I'm not sure. You'll have to let me know.
Well, I think we need some very ripe mangoes because they feel like acid sometimes.
Oh, they do? Okay. You'll have to try it and let me know. I'm very excited to hear. And I love the type of question you just had, where you took this activity, and this is what I encourage parents and kids to do, is what questions did it give you? Oh, cool. Let's go in the kitchen and test it next. And so that's just how we spend our time that way.
Wow, that's a very good way to spend some time. Yes. Can you also tell us some tips to teach kids science at home?
Yeah, I would say the first tip I have is to remember that parents know more about science than they think they do. So if you are not a scientist or a mathematician, you still know what patterns are. You know how to use a recipe.
Yeah.
You know that when you drop a ball, it falls to the ground. And you know that to make ice cubes, you have to put them in a freezer, where a 4-year-old does not know that. And so you have much more knowledge than you think you do, and you can help with that. And the second one is that let's all learn together. Do you ever learn things with your parents and it sticks better because you're doing it together?
Yes, of course. Sometimes I learn with my mother and my father and it works very well. And I remember
Yes.
things very fast.
Right. And then you also know then that your mom and dad are always learning and that learning
Yeah,
doesn't just stop when you get out of school. And so
yeah.
one of the things I like to point out is when I was in school, you didn't really admit you were wrong about anything. You always just wanted to be right. And now it's like, oh, I don't know. Let's look. And so I think it's wonderful that kids look things up and it's just good to learn with each other. Um, and then the last thing is that you don't need fancy chemicals in a lab to do science. Like
Yeah.
I just did it with some
A
stuff that was in
balloon,
my
water,
cabinet.
baking soda, and a bottle.
Yeah, you don't need very much at all. And I think I'm working on something right now. It's how many experiments you can do for like, let's say $10. I'm going to get the materials and make a list of all the things you can do with it. And it's, you can do so much.
Yeah, of course. We can do many things with the things lying around on the house, of course.
Right. And with baking soda and vinegar, I think something that I forget is that just watching it fizz is fun for kids. And the younger they are, the cooler that is. And so you can actually just do baking soda and vinegar and ask them, well, where did the bubbles go? What's in the bubbles? And then you can design this experiment. And that's really fun. And so there's just so many things you can do with it. And never be afraid to ask online if you need help with something. So like someone like me has made an activity that a parent or a kid can use and you guys can work on it together.
Okay. So then, what impact and change can chemistry bring to the world?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. um, so I think that it helps us be better citizens of our society, so that we understand what our global impacts are. So chemistry, I mean, obviously is involved with climate change. And that's something that I don't think people think about all their daily behaviors going that far.
Yeah.
But even just when you have products that people try to sell you, I don't know how your TV is, but on our TV, the commercials, some of them try to sell stuff that's not real. Like the science isn't right, and they're trying to take people's
Yeah.
money. And I do not like that, and I like to make sure my students understand that when something isn't real, for them to be able to pick that out in the science.
Well, the same thing you told me about your TV, and that happens to our TV as well.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, they try to sell us many types of things which are not real or not good, or maybe let us be ill as well.
Hmm.
It's very bad, and we don't
Yes,
want
I
it as well.
agree. And
Yeah, of
if you don't
course.
understand basic chemistry, then you might have trouble and you might fall for some of that. So like you might buy something that like you want water with a high pH or something like that. And it's like, no, water should have a neutral pH.
Oh, of
Um,
course.
just just some basic things like that, or even just the basic understanding that um, if it is getting cold outside and it's almost freezing, that you need to worry that that rain is going to turn into ice and you need to be safe while driving. Even things that are basic like that. I think that as long as we can do that, we can understand things that happen around us a little better.
Okay. Then what is the most interesting thing about chemistry?
Oh, that it explains so much. So like any question you have can be broken down into some sort of science. And a lot of the time it's down to the atomic level and it's chemistry. Um, it helps us solve so many problems. And I think it's really interesting.
Yes, of course. It's sometimes I feel that it is very interesting as well. And then how was your experience when you were studying in science?
It was good. My dad was an engineer when I was a kid, and he really loved science. And so he signed me up. We had science camps. I'm not sure if you have those, but we would go for like a week or on a whole Saturday, and we would do science experiments at a college. And it was fun. And I thought, oh, wow, this is really cool. And it's hard. And school is pretty easy for me. I got A's and I just memorized things
Oh, that's nice.
and but it wasn't learning really. Where chemistry I really had to learn and I had to understand what was going on, and it was challenging, and so I always loved it because of that.
Okay, that's very nice. Well, we do have a science fair for
Oh, you do?
presenting.
Okay.
Yeah. for presenting some kind of science experiments or something to the teachers, and they give you numbers for that as well as some presents.
Oh, cool.
I-
Have you been in the science fair?
no, I haven't been yet because of the COVID-19. And it's very nice. But we started our science fair from the grade six, and I am in grade six, but it's in
Oh,
under
okay.
COVID-19, so I didn't get the luck to do that. But it's still
Next
nice.
year.
Yes, maybe next year. Please pray. Okay, so then, is there anything you want to share about your science learning journey?
That's I know it's a silly saying that you probably hear from adults all the time is that when one door closes, another opens. But I keeping all of your doors open is so important. So getting a degree opens so many doors for you, and don't say no to opportunities. So there have been a few things where I've thought, I don't know, that doesn't sound like me. I'm not going to do it. Or it'll be, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough for that. But I apply and then I do get things. And my career just keeps like moving and doing these fun, amazing things my whole career. So I highly recommend just keeping your ear to the ground and seeing or listening to what's out there. It never hurts to ask. If you want to meet with a scientist, you can send them an email and see. Attend all you can, all of the things at museums, and just do as many opportunities as you can.
Yeah, that's a great tip and very nice. And then, what keeps you motivated to keep teaching kids about science?
That's a good question. I've always been motivated to do it just intrinsically. It's something that I've always had a passion about, of making sure people understand the world around them. But after having a child, making sure he understands, and that has been a real driving factor of what I do. And then as I'm teaching him, I share those activities with others. So I think my child was a big motivating factor of that.
Oh, then he's a nice person, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I know so. It's very nice. What is he doing now?
He is in preschool. He's at his daycare preschool. He's
Oh,
probably taking a nap right now.
okay. Then it's nice. I think America is very fun in preschool.
Yeah, there's a lot of learning activities. You practice writing your letters. They played musical chairs this morning. Just some fun games to get them socialized, really. And after being stuck in our house for a year and a half for a pandemic, it's good to be around other children because
Yeah.
he doesn't have any siblings, and so it's just
Oh,
him and me
I
all the
don't have any
time.
siblings as well.
What?
I don't have any siblings as well.
Oh, so this has been interesting for you too, being at
Yeah.
home.
Yep. Of course. It has. But I still love playing. And I still play with Barbies, and I try doing many type of experiments with my Barbie, and it's very awesome as well.
That's so cool. I loved Barbies when I was your age too.
Oh, that's nice. Barbie is so fun to play with. That's why I always make dresses for Barbies myself.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That's really cool that you know how to sew like that.
Oh, thanks. But sometimes I do not sew. I always use a stapler to make dresses.
Oh, okay.
So
That
that's
works too, yeah.
yeah,
Especially
that's
since the cloth is so small.
yeah, of course.
So do you want to be a fashion designer when you get bigger?
Oh no, I want to be a scientist. But that is just my hobby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
I
then
have
what
some friends who
yeah.
sew, and they are chemists, and they sew dresses that have science patterns.
Oh, they have science patterns.
Yeah, so the fabric has science concepts on it, like atoms or things like that, and they're really cute.
That's nice and cute as well, of course. Then what are your hobbies?
Um, right now, I think teaching science to other people is kind of my side job at the moment. So what I do with my Instagram and my book is all kind of my hobby. But usually I love to travel.
Oh,
Traveling was my favorite, and then we couldn't for a while. And listening to music and watching movies.
Oh, watching movies are my favorite as well as traveling, and music is also nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how do you plan for rest and self-care then?
How do I what?
Plan for rest and self-care.
That one is something that's tricky, and especially with a child, to make sure that I've got the time to do that. So it's something I have to really focus on. And if I feel really tired, I know I need to ask someone for help. So I've got a really good network of family members around here. And what we do is if one of us needs self care, we reach out and ask for help. And then we go, like, I get a massage or even just like go with your headphones on for a walk just to have a minute to yourself.
Yeah. That's a very nice thing. And I also love to do meditating for self-care. And it's very
Yeah,
good.
my husband meditates. I haven't really I I think there's definitely a difference between introverts and extroverts on meditation of how well it works for them, but I'm an introvert and I'm always in my own head all day. And so when I sit down and try to meditate, I can't get it to work. So I need to either focus better or work on my meditation practice.
Oh, okay. But meditation is still nice for me because I'm both the introvert and extrovert because I love going outside as well as I like to stay inside as well. That's why
Uh-huh.
I'm both an introvert and extrovert, and that's why I love doing meditation as well.
Yeah.
But stretching is also nice for self care.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what do you do in a day every day?
Well, when my son is at daycare, those days I write items for standardized tests and for curricular materials. So textbooks at the end of a chapter or within it, an activity they might do. And I look at the news all day, look at articles, and I read and I try to find new ways to talk about basic things to help kids understand. And so I do that most of the day.
Oh, okay, it's nice. Cool. Then what is your favorite thing to do in your free time still?
I like to probably watch movies and TV. It's
Oh,
something that's really fun to do. I'm I used to read a lot, and then the pandemic, I had a harder time reading. It was just more difficult to do, and so I'm starting that back up, which is also fun.
yeah. Well, I also like reading as well. I like reading storybooks like princesses and animals and everything. I love those. They're very
Oh, that's
awesome.
great. I
Yeah.
loved to read when I was your age too.
Oh, yeah. It's very nice. Then how do you plan for work?
I plan, so I own my own company. And what I do is I have to plan out in my head how many hours I have available before I say yes to a new client. And so usually what I do is for ideas, I just start looking online and I Google ideas that I'm thinking of and I just bookmark everything. And then I get to it later, like when I'm more focused. So there's one day where I just dedicate to looking for ideas. And it's very inspiring to be able to do that because you can see all the science that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
Um, and then the next day, I'll focus in on the one thing I want to write about.
Okay, that's nice. So, what do you like the most in teaching science?
I love when somebody gets it. They've got that moment where it clicks and it's not just they memorized it, but they actually understood it. I love being there for that.
Oh, I also love understanding, and that's the thing I love as well. Then what is your vision for you and your business for the next 15 years?
15 years. Oh, wow. Um, I'm not sure yet. Now that my son has went back to school, I have a little time to focus on what I want to do next. And I have some ideas for more of an online persona of teaching science on like maybe a YouTube channel or a blog. So I'm thinking through those and I have a new book idea. So I've got a few ideas, but I'll still always love writing curricular materials. So I'll still be doing that on the side. It's just how much of it I do.
Hey, I know you'll do great if you write a blog or do a YouTube channel because you're a very nice person. You're
Oh,
very
thank you.
sweet. Oh, you're welcome. Then what advice do you give to your younger self?
You have great questions.
Please.
Let's see. Advice to my younger self.
Yeah.
Think I would say to always keep trying and just keep looking forward. That if things ever feel like it's hard, like I imagine the pandemic has been really hard this year for kids, to just think that this is not forever.
Yeah.
We can get through. There's a good day coming ahead. It's almost here. And to be open to new opportunities. Yeah. So apply for a scholarship, apply for a fellowship. Like it never hurts to ask.
Yeah. That's very inspiring for me and the other kids out there, especially my listeners and my viewers as well.
Well, I'm glad.
Wow. Okay, so that's it for my questions. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Well, thank you so much for reaching out. I'm so excited to be on it.
Oh, of course. I'm
I
very
think it's
happy.
cool that you have your own podcast. That is awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's an inspiration when someone tells me that it's very cool to have a podcast. Yeah. And that's it. Thank you so much for coming and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
You too.
Hey, thank you.